We need a strong national forestry management policy. I know we have done a lot. I have read, we have existed with the policies that we have, including the newly or the recently introduced policy and management regulations that we have. But we must develop to govern sustainable harvesting, to ensure that enforcement of local value addition is very clear, to regulate the harmful monoculture that still exists, such as the unregulated eucalyptus plantations, because eucalyptus plant was introduced in this Kenya to deal with very specific things, including energy, including wealth creation, including other activities that we really needed to deal with. As an intervention, I suggest that we must immediately embark on a robust ecosystem restoration program. Yes, we are talking and we are putting a lot of effort on the 15 billion trees. How can we make it practical? How can we make it in a manner that it will initiate or should focus on reclaiming degraded forests and watersheds? How do we make it to promote the use of indigenous tree species and enhance biodiversity and bolster climate resilience? How do we make it practical that it can be felt at the point where it is required most? Indeed, I have a lot of confidence in the current cabinet minister for environment, whom I believe if he gets the support of the presidency, he will be able to deal with some of these challenges that are so much deeply entrenched. These interconnected challenges demand a very urgent, collective, and very comprehensive action to safeguard Kenya's environment and its future, and we must be able to reaffirm its critical role in the global fight against climate change. Customs oversight must also be strengthened to address the misuse of HS codes. This item of HS code that I mentioned lightly is a very deep thing that not only touches on the subject that I'm talking about, but also our nation is losing revenue because of misuse of HS code. Our Kenyan forests are now emitting greenhouse gases day after the other, accelerating the global crisis. Unique species of flora and fauna are continuously disappearing as their habitats are destroyed, leaving a scar in the planet's biodiversity. There is no need for keeping to manipulate figures, manipulate forest covers, manipulate activities, engaging funding and activities in places where results are not clear. What are the actions that I foresee we can be able to do? One, there is an urgent need, I suggest, to impose a moratorium on raw timber exports until a thorough audit and a very clear and robust regulatory framework is established. The consequences of inaction are so dire, not just for Kenya, but for the entire region of East and Central Africa and the whole world at large. For Kenya, failure to act will undoubtedly result in this continued environmental degradation effort is going to end up being an economic stagnation and disempowerment, that will lead to destabilizing economy and possibility of escalated conflicts. We think that we are over with trouble. But try not to act in these areas, and you'll be able to see how bad things can ever and can become. Kenya, our great nation, lacks specific comprehensive framework to regulate eucalyptus harvesting and ensure sustainable forestry. This is lacking. And not only in eucalyptus, in many other products. Regional initiatives like the Zanzibar Declaration, I think, which aim to combat illegal trade, remain under-enforced, and they continue to exacerbate this serious problem. We must bring out and we must deal with the policy gaps. We must be able to expose the hidden agenda. Kenya is suffering because of hidden agenda. You hear roads that are being created, or expansion of roads in a forest like Karura Forest. And people with their good minds can think of excising 51 acres. Tomorrow it will be 150 acres. Are we in lack of what we can call ideas and innovations, where you can create roads above the existing roads? You are talking of 51 acres. Upwards of that road, you have hundreds of acres that you can use without messing up a world forest that makes Kenya to be most respected. What remains is a landscape scarred by unchecked deforestation, a looming economic collapse for local communities, and the silent cries of biodiversity lost forever, not to be found. Also, as a leader of the Green Party, the Green Thinking Action Party, I'm here to sound the alarm and to advocate for an immediate, comprehensive, and decisive action. In this crisis, it is not merely an environmental issue. In the way that I see it, and the reason why I have called out that I speak about this, it is a multifaceted challenge driven by weak regulations on one side, deeply hidden agendas, and of course, the misuse of international trade systems. A silent tragedy has continued to unfold in our nation. This was laid bare in an expose in the last few days in our media, that more than 6 million eucalyptus trees, and when I talk about trees, you can imagine it's not just one type of tree, this is just what has been exposed, which is the lifeblood of our industries and communities. These have been harvested and lost.